This is Module 4, Connectivism, and we're going to talk about personal learning networks. You know how to get a hold of me if you need me. This subject is, I guess, near and dear to my heart. I have been dealing with and thinking about networks and connections for learning for quite a long time. I've written a number of articles related to this particular topic, and I like to think about things like you see on the screen here, which is a network map of a social situation, and the white dots are nodes or people, and the lines between the dots are connections. And you know, I always ask, which position would you like to be in this particular network if you were a learner, and where would you want to position yourself? A lot of people say they want to be at the center because there's lots of connections there and they can gather more information. Other people might say that they want to be on the edges because they can sort of peer into this particular network and maybe get some ideas and get some insight that they can take to other networks where they may be more of the hub or the center. So I think it depends on what you want to do and what you're trying to accomplish and learn. I think what I would like you to think about as we talk about networks, connectivism, and personal learning networks is that you should be probably thinking about connections, and you should be thinking about the networks that you created around yourself as a learner. And then you should encourage other people to do the same. So I'm not going to read a definition of connectivism for you. You can read that in the articles that I've provided. However, I wanted to touch on a couple principles of connectivism just to frame our discussion. So first, diversity is important. It is what makes up the knowledge base and the network. The second thing is that connecting information sources is, and that process is the learning. So the connections become the focus and are extremely important. So learning how to curate connections becomes critical, and identifying connections between fields, which are often linked to innovation, also become increasingly critical. So we are in this process of continuously needing to make decisions about what connections are placed within the network and what we want to learn. So learning is this creation process. However, it's not only just about increasing the connections, but it's about contributing to your node through production, and therefore increasing the diversity of your network and increasing the knowledge of your network. As learning professionals, how do we build networks? How do we help others build networks? How do we design interventions, learning interventions with networks? So we need to do a few things. There's a few things that have to happen. One, we need to be literate with digital information. We need to learn how to use tools to produce digital content so that we can contribute to the learning community. As instructors, we can then model how our students would be producers of such content. That leads to technological literacy, not only the tools to develop digital content, but how do we distribute it? And then media literacy. We can expand out into different forms, podcasts, different medias. We can use video and all the other tools that help us connect and build networks. Our instruction becomes more learner-centered, and the instructor's role may change to become more of a facilitator. And we need to learn how to build collaborative spaces where people come and they're willing to share in order to learn. One of the things I love to teach and talk about, which I consider to be the sort of the glue of the internet, is RSS feeds. It doesn't really matter if you remember what it stands for, but it stands for Real Simple Syndication. And the symbol you see on the screen here is a symbol that means that relates to RSS feed. So you'll see these on various websites now. And as we walk through this, you'll learn about how it can be used to create a network, a personal learning network. You'll start seeing the RSS feed symbol all over the web. These are blogs, and anytime a blog is created, there'll be an RSS feed underneath it, and you can subscribe to that particular content through what's called a feed reader. The problem is that there's a ton of content out there on the internet, and if you go to each one of the websites that you want to review the content on, you are, first of all, not at the center of the network, and it's going to cost you valuable time. So what a RSS feed reader does is it takes the RSS feeds from each one of these sites, subscribes to them, and basically flips the arrows around so that you become the center of your learning network. This saves you a ton of time because you don't have to go out and visit each one of these sites. You can just look at the headlines and read the stuff that's valuable to you. And we're starting to create our first personal learning network where we're at the center and we're creating this content-rich environment. As I mentioned, you'll see these RSS symbols in many places now, and you'll know that you can subscribe to them. So for example, in our Canvas course, if you go to the announcements section, there is an RSS feed symbol. You can see it here in the highlighted area. You could click on that and subscribe to the announcement content for this particular course. You can find RSS feeds for newspapers and popular periodicals. You can also find RSS feeds for popular training magazines and training blogs. So what I'd like you to do is to try this out. I would like you to use a tool called Feedly, which is an RSS feed reader. You can also use other RSS feed readers if you would like. Feedly is available in Mac, PC, and pretty much all mobile devices. You can create an account for free and you can start subscribing to RSS feeds. If you need, you can watch the short tutorial that I created on using Feedly and subscribing to various feeds. You do sometimes have to find the RSS feed and use that URL in order to subscribe. So if you find this to be difficult, watch the little tutorial that I have produced, and hopefully that'll help you subscribe to the feeds that you'd like to. After you subscribe, it's a job of curating your personal learning network. This takes time. And if you stick with it, you'll find that this type of a network becomes quite valuable. In other words, you start to gather and obtain a lot of information in a very efficient way. So what you do is you follow RSS feeds, and then maybe you find them not so useful, so you can unfollow them. And you look for new resources and you follow those, and then you unfollow the ones that are not so useful. One great way to find RSS feeds to follow is to search on a subject or topic that you're interested in and the term blog. If you put that into a Google search engine, you're going to get blogs written on your subject area. And as I mentioned before, all blogs inherently have an RSS feed underneath them that you can subscribe to. In this class, I want you to subscribe to each other's blogs. This will get us started in creating a personal learning network. As your classmates share content on their blog, that content will come directly to your RSS feed reader, which you can watch frequently throughout the course and gather information from your classmate. Watch the announcement section of this class, and I will tell you how I will distribute the RSS feeds to your classmates' blogs.